Good afternoon. This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for June 18th. We have a very active Atlantic basin right now for the middle of June. Two invests on the map, one southeast of the Windward Islands and one just east of the country of Belize in the western Caribbean Sea. Before I get to the specifics on these two systems, I want to talk about some emails and comments I've seen about why I am not featuring a particular city or island that may be out in front of either of these two systems. Well, first of all, the red blinking light on the map is the current feature, Marathon, Florida, which is my number 3 city to be impacted based on my predictions that came out on May 15th. So this red blinking light will move to feature what city or island I think will be at greatest risk from this system or either of these systems once they become tropical depressions and or tropical storms. Normally when you have invest on the map, the models are very erratic, and unless you have a well-defined center of circulation and something to track, the models will not be very good. But once there is a center that's there to track and we have a tropical depression or storm, the models will come into better agreement and we'll be able to feature a city that may be the most impacted by one of these two systems. Also, while I have the map up, I want to talk about the color coding and the 5 best performing models. While we have invest on the map, they go based on the early models that run, such as the TAFB models, and there's the shallow, medium, and deep models. Now, the shallower the model is, if it ends with an S, you'll notice that the model tends to take a more southerly route. If it ends with an M, which is medium, it would take a more medium, maybe a west-northwest track, and then the deeper solutions tend to take a more northerly track. So when you mouse over these models, it'll tell you, some of them anyway, it'll tell you whether it's shallow, medium, or deep. But these are early models, and once this or either of these systems become a tropical depression or storm, the models will improve greatly, and the Euro and some of these other models will display on the maps as well, and then we'll have a much better idea of where these systems are going. So let's show you the radars. This is from barbadosweather.org, and we link to these radars from the featured cities, especially when we feature Caribbean cities and islands. But here's the side-by-side radar of the Yucatan Peninsula to the left and the Cayman Island region to the right. And the reason I'm showing you this is it's very interesting because we have a battle going on with Invest 93L in the Western Caribbean of where is the center of circulation. Is it over toward the Cayman Islands up in this area right in here, or is it over land near the Yucatan Peninsula? And I was looking at observations earlier from the Yucatan, and we have southwest winds down here, and we have easterly winds up as you get up towards Cancun and Cozumel in these areas. So it indicates to me that there is a broad circulation somewhere on the north side of Belize, and we also have another, maybe a mid-level circulation out here near the Cayman Islands. And again, if you we animate this, you can see there's a little bit of turning going on here on the radar, and there's turning down here. So there is a Hurricane Hunter aircraft tentatively scheduled to go out this afternoon. In fact, they should be on their way there right now to see if we have which one of these is the true circulation. And if it is the one near the Cayman Islands, then that's going to change the model output, and this would be more likely to be a northern Gulf system versus turning west towards Texas. So here's the water vapor loop of the western Atlantic basin, and you see some troughs and some wind shear going on here. First of all, we have a deep trough out here, and you can see that the dry air and the flow is off to the southwest in advance of what could become our next tropical depression or storm, which is 93L. And then out here in front of 92L, we also have another sharp trough out in here causing southwest wind flow. Now, if we put this back in motion and then show you the high level wind flow, you can see right here the blue arrows would indicate that that's the flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and if this system moves northwest, it's going to run into some wind shear problems as it enters the Gulf of Mexico. Right now it's a little bit shielded from the wind shear. It's just north of where this blob of convection is, so if it keeps moving northwest and the shear The thing is though, the shear might stay out in front of this system. For example, once this system, say it develops over in here somewhere, this shear might be over in here, and that would keep it ventilated enough to where the wind shear wouldn't tear it apart too much. But at either rate, what's going to end up happening with this is it's going to end up, more than likely, all the systems we've seen in the Gulf of Mexico the past several years, it's going to be a lopsided sheared system where the convection is off to the right of the circulation. So anywhere if this makes landfall in Louisiana, most of the rain's probably going to come in over Mississippi, Alabama. If it comes in over Texas, most of the rain's going to come in over Louisiana. And if it comes into Mississippi or Alabama, most of the rain's going to be over the Florida Panhandle and North Florida. So it just depends on where the center of circulation is, but rest assured this will be a lopsided system in the Gulf of Mexico. Now the system out east of the Windward Islands has a deep trough out in front of it, and I really don't give this system much of a chance for development. I know the GFS is indicating that this could be a strong tropical storm moving through there. I'm just not buying that. Here's the reason why. Let me show you the visible close-up of, well, that's actually, here, let me go. Here we go. This is Invest 92L, and the system has a well-defined center of circulation, but it's struggling with maintaining its convection. And the trajectory that it's on, right now it's around probably 7.5 degrees north right here, and it's moving, cruising pretty quickly off to the west here. So unless it gains some latitude, I'm thinking that this may end up tangling with maybe Trinidad, the ABC Islands, going into South America for the most part. I'm not buying the models that are taking this clearly into the Caribbean Sea. And if it does make it into the Caribbean Sea, the wind shear is increasing in the Caribbean Sea, and I don't give this much hope for strengthening once it gets into the Caribbean. On a side note, a lot of these systems that, if they don't become tropical storms before they enter the Caribbean, they're probably not going to do it until they get into the Western Caribbean. So that's another thing to keep an eye on with this system, but I'm not giving this a lot of hope as far as becoming any kind of a significant tropical storm going into the Windward Islands. We'll see about that, but right now I'm not buying it too much. We'll see what happens. We already have winds. If you notice the winds on this system, this is a visible satellite, but you can see the clouds streaking off to the north here very rapidly out in front of this, and that's that southerly wind shear that's out in front of this system. So I'm not thinking that this is going to have a very favorable environment as it approaches the Windward Islands. Meanwhile, we have our sister system in the Western Caribbean Sea, and you can see again, the battle going on between what is the true center of circulation. Again, there's two turns in the atmosphere going on here. You got one over here and one up in this range right here. And again, this could be more in the upper levels, and this would be more of a surface feature. But again, I want to emphasize southwest winds here on land, east winds to the north of this. Out in this area, some of the buoys that I've been finding out here, the pressures are pretty steady. They're not really dropping that much, so it might indicate that this might just be a blow-off from the center of circulation, which is over land. Again, this is subject to the hurricane hunters, what they find when they get in there. So a lot of uncertainty with both of these systems. I'll be back with another update either tomorrow or the next day. Once we have a good idea whether one or the other of these systems becomes a tropical storm, the models will get into better agreement, and then we will begin to figure out where these systems are going to go and what cities and islands will be affected the most. Anyway, that's it for now. Please visit hurricanecity.com for the latest information. Pay attention to these maps on the front page. They're really valuable. And the models, every 24 hours, myself and Chris Hollis, they have a program running that calculates the models every 24 hours. And a new set of model data comes in. So tomorrow we'll have a new set of models showing on the map that are performing the best with the track of these systems. And as each day goes by, the models, you'll get a better idea of which the best performing models are. That's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with another update in a day or two. Thank you.